Sukihantu and good evening to ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dhammapada series brought to you by Buddhist Mahavihara Malaysia. Today's session is also live on TBCN Facebook. Do subscribe our Facebook for more information. The topic for tonight is Dhammapada, Chapter 1, verses 9 and 10 by Bhante Pesala Thera. Bhante Pesala Thera is from Sri Lanka. He was ordained in year 2017 and received his higher ordination in year 2020. Currently, Bhante lives in Labunorua Forest Monastery at Anuradhapura, where he always shares the Dhamma to both local and international communities under Dhammapada program conducted by the monastery for the well-being of the humanity. Without further ado, let's invite Bhante to join us. Good evening, Bhante, and over to you
Okay,
now.
good evening. Okay, hope you can hear me. Okay, Teruvan Sarnai to everyone. I would like to welcome all of dear Dhamma friends for today's talk. So, first of all, I would like to thank and pass my appreciation to Miss Gaiji and the people who are behind this novel effort. So, before we begin today's talk, let's all together worship the Buddha with me. Everyone, let's say together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, I would like to welcome again all of the Dhamma friends. Okay, as Miss Gaji explained, today we have the 9th and 10th verses of the Dhammapada. So, if I explain in Pali, it is like this. Anikkasavu kasavang yoattang paridahessati apeto dhamma saccena naso kasav marahati. And number 10th one, it goes like this in Pali. Yojavanta kasavassa silesu susamahito upeto dhamma saccena savekasav marahati. So today, dear Dhamma friends, we do have a very beautiful and very applicable topic to talk. It is talking about the nature of the robe. So in the first verse, if I give you a brief explanation in the beginning, it is said, Anikkasavu kasava. Here the word means kasava. Kasava means another name for the robe. In Pali, kasava means the robe. So Anikkasavu means, that person whose mind defiled with, defilements, whose mind polluted with defilement. So such type of person is also named as Kasav. And by being a monk, with defilements, he is living without practicing Dhamma. So that type of a monk, even though he wear the robe, and also he shouldn't possess Dhamma. Here, Dhamma Satchena, there are two words. Dhamma means here, Dhamma means the verbal and physical restrainment. When as a monk, when we speak, we have to be restrainful. We have to be tamed. The word we have to be wisely used. And also the physical behavior has to be perfect. I mean, calm and quiet. So, and also Satcha. Satcha means, the truthfulness. I have seen lots of English translation, given the meaning of the truthfulness, but it has a deeper sense. Like as a monk, we must possess the knowledge of Four Noble Truths. The Satcha means Chatusatcha means Four Noble Truths. In Chatusatcha means in Pali, in English Four Noble Truths. So not only the truthfulness, but as a monk, we should possess the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. So, monk wearing the robe, a monk, suppose a monk wearing the robe without these qualities, indeed he is not worthy to wear this robe. So the second verse says, Yochavanta Kasavassa, that the second type of monk is already, eradicated or removed the defilements from his mind, and he is wearing the robe. He is indeed worthy to wear the robe. Not only that, he is having Upeto Dhamma Satchen. Upeta means he have reached to what? Dhamma mean, the verbal and physical restrainment. While he using six senses, as beings, we have six senses: eye, ear, mouth, tongue, body, and the mind. So by wearing robe, he cannot just stay astray. He have to, carefully use words and all the six senses. He have to be tamed. So that is called Dhamma. And also the Satya, mean the truthfulness. He has to maintain the truthfulness, and also he should possess the knowledge of Four Noble Truths. The main reason to become a monk is to somehow realize the Four Noble Truths. By realizing Four Noble Truths, we can make an end to all the sufferings that we are facing right now, we have faced in the past, and also we are going to face in the future. All sorts of sufferings we can end after realizing the Four Noble Truths. So that has to be the purpose of a monk to wear the robe. That is the main purpose. Without having that purpose, if one wear the robe and he depict as a monk, even though he is depict as a monk, he cannot call as a monk or a bhikkhu. He just, if I give you a explanation or the simile or the illustration to understand this, suppose I have used this simile quite a number of times. When suppose there's a product, the label is good but inside is not good. So another product is there, label is not much good but the inside is good. So which one you prefer? Definitely it should be the second one. So similarly, even though monk wear the beautiful colorful robe, but if he doesn't have those qualities that I have mentioned, he is not worthy to wear the robe. So today these verses Buddha uttered to the monk named as Devadatta. You may have heard these stories before. This Devadatta Thera, he, normally we are hearing lots of stories, tales, and things like that. All the stories, there's an enemy behind. So in the Buddha story, the most prominent enemy was the Devadatta Thera. He was lucky enough to, see the Buddha. And not only that, he became a monk under the guidance of the Buddha. But still, he was unable to recognize the Buddha, and he was unable to, realize the nirvana or Dhamma. So that is very important thing, dear Dhamma friends, because even nowadays people are in Sri Lanka mostly, the one who have met with me, most people mention me that, Bhante, nowadays what is the purpose of becoming a monk? Can you what is the, I mean, you are in your younger age, why you became a monk? So lots of people questioning. So then I ask them to, I am going to tell them the value of the Dhamma, but they say, Bhante, nowadays we cannot perform those practices because now Buddha passed away almost the time almost 2,500 years gone. So nowadays we cannot practice like the earlier, like the Buddha's time. They were telling like that. But the even in front of the Buddha, if our minds are not ready, we cannot recognize the Buddha. Even under the Buddha, we cannot understand the Dhamma. So this has happened to this Devadatta Thera. He became a relative of the Buddha's family, but still he was failed to understand the Buddha. Not only him, there are lots of monks. One monk is named Sunakatta. and Magandhi. When we will talk about the Dhammapada in future, you will get to know lots of stories are there. So the important thing is the Dhamma, not the Buddha. That's why Buddha said, Yo Dhammam Passati, so Mam Passati. Yo Mam Passati, so Dhammam Passati. If one who sees the Dhamma sees myself, one who sees me, he sees the Dhamma. Buddha said that. So the most important thing is Dhamma. So your mind should be get ready to, get the Dhamma. Then only you can understand the Dhamma as well as the Buddha, as well as the Sangha. If your mind is not ready, even the Buddha come in front of you, still you cannot understand the Buddha, still you cannot recognize the Buddha. By seeing the outer appearance, we cannot recognize the Buddha. If you really want to recognize, understand the Buddha, you try to go through the Dhamma. And some people are there, they are not focusing on the Four Noble Truths. They just do lots of merits by giving lots of dana, and they were worshipping. They are making huge flower offerings and so many types of offerings to the Buddha. And thereby I questioned them, what is the purpose of doing these things? At that time they say, Venerable sir, I am doing these merits just to, if I can have the chance to be born with the Maitri Buddha in the future, then with him I can hear the Dhamma and understand the Dhamma. But even Maitri Buddha appear in this world, that Buddha also preaching the same Dhamma which we are hearing right now. So the Dhamma is available. If your mind is at least get ready to hear the Dhamma, to get the Dhamma, to absorb the Dhamma, then at least when the Maitri Buddha appears, then you will understand. Otherwise, you will happen to lose the chance. Even the Buddha appears, your mind filled with, defilements, you cannot recognize the Buddha. So the main thing is the Dhamma. So still the Dhamma is there. So let's talk about the Dhamma. And the reason behind Buddha uttered these verses, because during this time Buddha was living in Savatthi. Most of the time he spent the time at the Savatthi, and to Savatthi, 45 miles away, there's another town named Rajagaha. So that was the town where the Devadatta Thera was living. At once upon a time, chief disciples of the Buddha, Sariputta and Moggallana, used to visit there, Rajagaha. So there, once the Sariputta Thera visited there, he conducted a beautiful Dhamma sermon. He conducted a Dhamma sermon about the dana, or the alms. So there he said to the villagers or the members of the town, he said, there are 4 types of people living in the world who are giving alms or the dana. One type of person is there, he himself giving dana, and he's not encouraging others to give dana. He himself personally only he gives dana. He don't like to connect. He don't like to share. He don't like to instigate others to give dana. So in future births, he will get material wealth, but he's not getting friends, relatives, and retinue. So this is the results of that deed, because he himself only giving dana. And the second type of person, he himself not giving any material wealth, material dana to anyone, but he encourages others to give dana. So because of that, in future lives, he will get lots of friends, relatives, and kinsmen, but he will not get the material wealth. And the third type of person is there, he himself not giving any dana, and also is not instigating anyone to give dana. So in future lives, he doesn't get anything to at least to fill his stomach, tummy, and he has to suffer. He doesn't have material wealth as well as the friends, retinue, and relatives. He doesn't have any one of them. And also the fourth type is the best one. He himself gives dana, and he encourage instigate others to give dana. So that type of person in future lives, he will get material wealth as well as friends, relatives, and retinue due to that karma. Not only one life. In commentaries, it is mentioned maybe about 100 lives, 1,000 lives, 100,000 lives. Likewise, so many lives he can be happy because of his good karma, because he himself likes to give dana and also he encourage, instigate to others give dana. So if you carefully observe today world about your family, about your village, about your town, about your country, about the people, you could see the differences. You can observe these type of people available. Some people are they are poor, some people are they are having some friend, lots of friends, but they don't have enough money, enough wealth. Some people are there, they have enough wealth, but no one needs to look after, no friends, no any relatives, no any retinue, alone they are living. And someone are there, uh, they have enough material wealth as well as they have lots of friends, relatives, and retinue. So these differences happened due to their past karmas, as I explained. So this Sariputta Thera, uh, when explaining these factors, one poor man in that Rajaga town, he was thinking to offer a dana, and he directly goes to the Sariputta Thera and asks, Bhante, I want to give alms for the Sangha. Then Sariputta Thera asked from that guy, from that man, okay, how many can you afford? Then he asked back from the Sariputta Thera, Bhante, how many monks do you have? Then Sariputta Thera again replied to him, we have altogether 1,000 monks. Then he said, okay, Bhante, I will offer alms for all the monks. Then, by keeping the quietness, Sariputta Thera accept the invitation. And what that his poor man did was, he went home to home, village to village, town to town, street to street, and informed the event to the people. And once people hear this story, some people get together, 5 people get together and offer dana, some 10 get together and offer dana, some 100 get together, and thereby some group of people offer 5 months, some group of people offer to 10 months, some people 50, some people 100. Likewise, he was perfectly managed the, dana ceremony. So by hearing that event, one of the richest vendor in that town was trying to get some bhikkhus, but he was unable because already the number of bhikkhus have already uh, allocated. So the chance he didn't get. So he decided to offer a valuable piece of cloth to that poor man and said to him that if there's any shortage to dana, you just sell this piece of cloth and you just find the money and you just fulfill your shortages. He said that, but somehow he had conducted dana very well, very nicely. And, uh, he fulfilled the requirement of the Sangha very perfectly, because not only himself, he had lots of friends, and thereby he did a very nice, very perfectly arranged dana ceremony. So that particular robe, the valuable piece of cloth, it was remaining. So then the people who are in the Savatthi, they had a discussion to whom we are going to offer this remaining piece of cloth or the robe. Then some said, I think those who have understood Dhamma, those who are having the knowledge of Dhamma, they thought it is better to offer this robe to Sariputta Thera. Very few of them. Even the Buddha's time, the number of people who could understand the Dhamma is very less, dear Dhamma friends. The, the retinue of the Buddha is, compared to other teachers, very less. At a time, a Buddha having only 500 monks, at a time 1,250. There are two type of retinues Buddha had. But other teachers like Sanjay Bellatiputta, Pakuda Kachana, they had so many retinues, like 3,000, like that. But only Buddha had few, because even that time also, even the Buddha's time, very few was able to understand Dhamma. So in that Rajagaha village, the few number of people who have understood the Dhamma, they know the quality of the Sariputta Thera and the Moggallana Thera. They decided to offer that particular robe to Sariputta Thera. But the other villages, other kinsmen in the town, they decided to offer that to Devadatta Thera because they don't know about the Dhamma, so they cannot understand the difference between the enemy and the friend. So somehow this robe offered to Devadatta Thera, once he get the robe, he quickly made a beautiful robe and he just wear a robe and he's moving here and there. You know, the monks who have understood Dhamma had observed that this is not worthy. I mean, the way he wear, the way he wore, they didn't accept. So one monk eventually came back from Rajagaha to Savatthi, informed the matter to the Buddha, and thereby Buddha said to the monks, all together, there was a company of the monks. Buddha came to there. In there, the discussion was had about the Devadatta Thera. There, Buddha preached that two verses, saying that not only in this life, Devadatta Thera previously also, previous existences, he had done the same. He had done lots of mistakes, lots of unwholesome activities by using the rope. So I'm not going to tell you the Yataka story. It's quite a bit of long story. But I will briefly explain what Devadatta did to Buddha. One of the previous existence, Bodhisattva and Devadatta, they were friends. And so they were merchants. They were selling things to the villagers. So one day they had a very valuable golden plate. First, initially it received by the Devadatta Thera, but Devadatta at that time his name was Seri. He's a vendor. He got that opportunity, but he was very cunning, and without spending any money, he was trying to deceive people, and he tried to took it back. But as Bodhisattva, when he hear about the golden plate, he paid all the money in his hand. He paid everything, every possessions. He paid to the innocent people who possessed the golden plate, and he took back the that golden plate, and he returned back. So then another time, the cunning Seri vendor, he went up to the owner of the golden plate and asked him back the golden plate. At that time, he said, "I have, by blaming you, are cunning man, the innocent vendor, by paying all the money, all the possessions which he had taken back he had took away the golden plate. By hearing that, he suddenly, get anger. Just imagine the difference. There's a very tiny difference between the lust and the anger. Initially, you have the lust, then it will convert suddenly into the anger. So that Seri vendor was unable to understand that anger. So he just followed the Bodhisattva. At that time, he was crossing a river. He had gone lots of distance. So he asked him to come back, but Bodhisattva, since he was a very genuine and poor vendor, he just finished his things and he just keeping on his journey. But at that time they were friends, but still with that anger, he vowed, the Seri vendor vowed vengeance against the Bodhisattva, and thereby he said, not only in this life, I will retaliate with you in future lives. So that's why that vengeance came up to even with the Buddha, he's having that vengeance. So because of that polluted mind, he was unable to understand the qualities of the Buddha. So that's what I am telling you, because just imagine the nature of the mind. If the defilements come into the mind, initially, if you cannot pick them up, it will gradually enhance, develop in your mind. Then you cannot control them. So initially begin as a lust, but it will continue. If something happened against that, then lust convert to anger, anger convert to hate, hatred convert to vengeance. Likewise, it's developing. In the commentaries, there's a beautiful story. Uh, in the Buddha's time, in the jungles, there's a variety of frogs. Frogs. That frog very small. He is normally living under leaves, and the place where directly we cannot observe him. So but he's getting angry. Like when the little bit air touches him, piece of leaf touches him, any kind of thing. If it touch, it suddenly get the anger. So once he getting angry, what is happening to him? He begin to, by using air, he begin to inflate like a ball, like a balloon. You know, at that time, his 4 feet will, getting downside up. If the feet getting downside up, that means he is immovable. So still he's getting bigger. Then he will, become an easy prey for the carnivorous creatures. Those who are eating meat, uh, they will good. They will the carnivorous creatures get a good meal because of that. Anger raised within the mind of that frog. He didn't recognize, so that convert into anger converts, make him bigger by inflating. He's using air, and because of that he's getting bigger and bigger by using air, by inflating. And once he become a prominent thing, it will be an easy prey for the enemy. So that illustration given commentary to understand our anger, because when your mind is having the anger at the initial stage, if you cannot recognize, the similar thing happened as the frog. You know, in the beginning, when the anger appears in our mind, it will distort our thought process, our mind. Then, in there, if we cannot recognize and if we cannot subdue that, it will, make, our external appearance, our facial expressions bad. At that time, if we cannot recognize or subdue that, then it will begin to, uh, nasi. Nasi mean, we try to, by using teeth, we try to declare our anger. So even in that stage, if we cannot recognize, then we begin to blame. By blaming, if we cannot subdue the anger, then it will increase. We are going to hit, we are going to fight. In that stage, if we cannot control the anger, we begin to kill even. So these killings and mass fightings and wars are going on because of, they, in the beginning, they cannot understand the defilements. The initial stages, they couldn't able to understand. So this thing will happen to our minds, dear Dhamma friends. So still, if you are holding like defilements like lobha, and lobha mean craving, lust, and anger, and ignorance, such kind of defilements in your mind. If you are not mindful and if you are unable to recognize them at the first stage, it will gradually increase. Sometime, as I explained, you may done a lots of merits. You may have a chance to meet the Buddha, but if your mind is filled with defilements, you will not be able to recognize the Buddha. So that's why the Dhamma is sandittika. Sandittika means the results can be seen at very present. Just you do a thoroughful experiment in your mind and find and check whether the defilements are there or not. Then uh, though you are a layman or a bhikkhu, everyone is dealing with the defilements. He is worthy to bear the role. So that is the story. So that's how Devadatta Thera was, appeared as the enemy of the Buddha. So normally Buddha, he's spreading Maha Karuna, mean the greatest empathy, sympathy towards all beings, but still he had the enemies like Devadatta because of their corrupted mind. So that the same thing will happen to us, because now we may think that okay, we will not be like that, but we cannot say for sure. If your mind is having a little bit lust, and if it converts to anger, and if you do not know to deal with that, it will gradually increase, and it will give you very bad results. So that's what happened to Devdatta Thera. So by learning these principles, so uh, not only for the monks, the lay people, as lay peoples, you try to, I mean, recognize your mind and deal with your defilements. And when you the more you defile your mind, the more you have to suffer. The more you cleanse your mind, the more you get happy. So that is the nature of the Dhamma. So today we are getting late, and since the time is expiring rapidly, I would like to remind you. Uh, so today we talked about uh, anger and, I mean, dvesha. So in future sessions we will be discussing about the avidya, and the avidya mean the ignorance, and thereby will explain you about the Four Noble Truths and how we understand them, how we practice Dhamma. So today with that, I would like to end today's session. And you know, in the Buddha's time, normally the sermons were not like this, because Buddha's time lots of discussions were going on, because people are encouraged by the Buddha to ask questions. Uh, because in Buddhism also questioning is highly appreciated. So I would like to invite you. If you have any questions, you can ask from me now. Okay, it seems like
Sorry, I was mute just now.
okay.
Thank you, Bhante, for sharing the wonderful sessions for tonight. We received no questions from the audience, hence we will proceed to conduct Anumodana.
Okay, okay. First of all, I would like to thank especially Miss Ga Ji for inviting me, and also Mr. Tilak Leslie, and all the people in the Buddhist Mahavihara. They are doing lots of contributions to conduct these kind of valuable Dhamma sessions, and I would like to thank them, and I would like to share the merits to them, and also I would like to pass merits to the sponsors, especially. I'm not mentioning the name, but still there are a few names are there. They were very diligently, you know interestingly, they have sponsored. So I would like to share the merits to them also, and also I would like to share merits to all the deities. uh, by sharing these merits, may they be well, be happy, and may they be able to attain the supreme bliss of nibbana. And also I would like to share these merits to my teachers, especially Venerable Man Kadavala Sudassana Thera, and also Venerable Man Kadavala Nandaratana Thera, also Venerable Kotmali Kumar Kassapa Thera. Because of my teacher's guidance, I could able to conduct this kind of Dhamma sermons to you. So may my teachers may attain these, may share these merits, may receive these merits, and may they be able to be well, be happy, and may they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. And also I would like to share these merits because behind this event there are so many lay people. I cannot especially name all of them. They contributed a lot to conduct this Dhamma discussion, including the sponsors and the Buddhist Mahavihara people and the people who are behind in our monastery. So everyone, may they have these merits, and may all these merits be a cause for them to be well, be happy, and be able, maybe may them be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana sooner. So with that, I would like to end today's Dhamma talk. So I will make you the Ashirvada. Please, by listening, you just take it. අභිවාදන සීලිස්ස නිච්ඡං වද්ධා පචායිනෝ චත්තාරෝ ධම්මා වඩ්ඩන්ති ආයුවන්නෝ සුඛං බලං ආයුආරෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සග්ග සම්පatti මේවච අතෝ නිබ්බාන සම්පatti ඉමිනාතේ සමිජ්ජතු. May all beings be well, be happy, and be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Triple gem bless you to everyone.
Thank you so much, Bhante. On behalf of the monk and management of Mahavihara, we would like to thank Bhante for his time and sharing his Dhamma knowledge with us. We would also like to express our gratitude to all our sponsors for their kind donations and all our audience for joining us tonight. Good night, everyone, and have a pleasant evening. Suki Hontu.